Today, I'm going to show you how to sell absolutely anything that you want to sell, no matter how much experience you have with marketing or how big your budget is. You could have thousands of dollars to invest in marketing or no dollars at all, but I'm going to show you how to make it happen with simple marketing basics. And this is the very first video of a 6-part series of my Marketing 101 crash course. Hey there, my name is Ashley Baxter, and I'm a digital marketing consultant and educator, and this is the very first video of my 6-part Marketing 101 crash course series. Now, if you are wanting to learn more about marketing and you're looking for pro marketer tips, or you're looking for some sort of get rich quick scheme, let me just go ahead and tell you up front, that's not my style. That's not what you're going to find here. So you can go ahead and mosey on to another channel that might be a little more your vibe. But if you're here because you're really looking to learn how marketers build authentic connections with their customers and they're able to, really spread their message, gain brand awareness, and do it in a way that feels genuine, do it in a way that is still classy, and do it in a way that actually is a win-win situation for both parties, for both them and their customers, then stick around because I've got some really great things to share with you. If you're new here, I want to invite you to go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that you get updates. I will be putting out a lot more videos like this in the upcoming months. So in this video, you're going to get a crash course in how to sell literally anything on the planet, like literally anything. It doesn't matter if you're trying to sell clothing or you just opened your own in-person boutique or store. Maybe you're a coach and you're selling coaching services. Maybe you're selling dog food. Who knows? All of those different products and services on the surface sound really, really different. But the reality is, with marketing, there are some simple, basic practices and some simple things to think about that can be used to successfully promote any of those services or products, no matter how different they are. And that's what this series is really going to focus on, is helping you understand the basics of marketing and the fundamentals. Right now in the market, there are a lot of people teaching specific marketing tactics. And what do I mean by that? So you see a lot of gurus out there teaching, how to run Facebook ads or how to be successful on Instagram or how to be really successful on Pinterest. And those things are great. But the reality is that's just one tiny thing. That's just one tiny part of marketing. And if you're in this for the long haul and you have a goal of becoming a good marketer, not just learning how to do, one little thing here or there, but really learning how to become a good marketer, then you need to know how to do more than just execute a tactic. And it could be that you are trying to learn more about marketing because you want to build a career, you want to make a career transition into marketing. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you have your own products and services that you're selling, or maybe you are considering starting your own agency or doing something like that. Knowing and understanding how marketing actually works, that's the foundation that helps people find success with marketing over the long term. When you just learn specific tactics or you just learn how to do one thing, typically what happens is you'll do that one thing, it'll work for a certain amount of time, and then when it stops working, you don't really have the foundations of marketing to understand how to pivot, go a different direction, make different decisions so that you can get back to a place of success. And that happens to so many people, and it actually puts a lot of companies out of business. So in this series, in this crash course series, I want to make sure that you start to understand how marketing really works at the most foundational, simplistic, basic level. And I'm going to break things down in a way where we're not just talking about a bunch of jargon. And, I'll use some marketing terminology, but I really want to share things in a way that is plain spoken. I want to share the simplest ways of understanding marketing. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. So that takes us us to our very first topic. And one of the things that you can do to become a better marketer and learn how to promote literally anything on the planet is to use what you already know. And what does that even mean, right? So marketing sometimes can feel like rocket science. It seems like this super complicated industry where there's so many different moving parts, technology is constantly changing, and there's a whole lot to keep up with. And all of those things are true. But when you break it down, you're exposed to marketing all the time on a regular basis, whether or not you even realize it. The average person is exposed to 6,000 to 10,000 ads every single day. Not in a year, not in a lifetime, but every single day, at some point, you are interacting with marketing, with branding, with advertising. And the more you bring that awareness to the forefront of your thoughts, the easier it becomes to recognize good marketing or even bad marketing when you see it and learn from it, and then start to use that knowledge and that insight into your own strategies, and to start to use some of those different things that you're noticing as you're up leveling your marketing skills, selling your own products and services. You get the drift. So a good way to think about this is, I want you to think about the last trip you made to the grocery store. Now, marketing was actually in play for that whole entire experience. When you thought about the different options that you had, the different stores that you could go to, you were thinking about the branding, you were thinking about the experience, you were thinking about the messages behind some of those stores. I know for myself that if I go to Trader Joe's, that's typically going to be a better experience for me than going to, let's say, a Walmart, for a couple of reasons. So, if I go to Trader Joe's, it's a smaller store. There's typically fewer people. There are less options because most of everything in Trader Joe's is their actual store's brand. So I'm not, looking at a ton of different options for hummus. I'm just thinking about the different flavors for hummus and, not what brand I actually want to buy. I know that that's going to be a quick in and out trip. They've got good options for meals that I could just like go ahead and pick up and not actually have to cook, and just throw them in the oven when I get home to just have something that's quick and easy to make. On the other hand, if I go into a Walmart, I know that there's going to be a lot more variety and a lot more options. And so when I'm thinking about even what store I'm going to go into, there's a value proposition of variety and option that each of those stores have baked into their operations, but also into their marketing and how they're promoting to me what store is going to be the store that's going to provide the experience that I want. And then, even beyond that, there are personality traits that are assigned to each one of those brands based on the marketing that they put out. When I think about Trader Joe's as a brand, I think about efficiency, I think about high quality for, potentially a lower cost than I would find in a different kind of store than maybe like a Whole Foods. I also think of jolly, happy employees wearing Hawaiian shirts that are probably going to smile at me when I check out. When I think about Walmart, I think of a completely different vibe. I think about the fact that I can go into that store and probably find something for a cheaper cost than I can find it anywhere else. And if I find it somewhere else and it's cheaper, I can ask them to price match and they'll probably do it. I also think about the fact that it's a store that has a ton of variety. So it's really more of a one-stop shop where I can go in, I can get groceries, I can get electronics, I can get ink for my printer, I can check out shampoos, I can, check out new plates and glasses and homewares and things like that and decor. So all these personality traits that I'm thinking of for either brand, those are baked into, again, the operations of those businesses, but also the marketing and the messaging they put out that actually entices and pulls in certain types of customers and certain demographics of people into their stores. And then, even thinking about the products that I find on the shelves in Trader Joe's, most everything in Trader Joe's is their own brand. But every single product had marketing behind it. Someone designed the packaging, someone designed different logos, created different names for these products that would be enticing and get people to purchase them. Same when I go into a Walmart, right? There are so many different brands, and all of those different brands are representative of some marketing and branding concept that someone came up with, down to the colors that they use, the shapes of the packages, to the messaging that they might have on the outside of the box to give you the benefits and the features of that product and why you should buy it. All of that is marketing. And so you're interacting with that on a regular basis. And what you can do, this is your first action step. What I want you to do is for 3 days straight, start paying attention to the marketing that is all around you. And what this is going to do, it's going to bring marketing that you're already aware of to the forefront of your mind. It's going to make it easier for you to recognize when you're being presented with marketing or a marketing message. And having that awareness and having that realization, being able to point it out when it's good or even when it's bad, that's going to help you become a much, much better marketer, like really, really quickly, like just super, super fast. And that's what you're going for, right? If you're in this for the long haul, you need to understand how marketing really works and like really notice and pay attention to when you recognize that something is a marketing message and how it actually makes you feel. Do you see an ad or a product and there's something about it that makes you want to make a decision really quick, or something about it that, makes your brain scream, "Oh my gosh, yes, I have to have this and I have to buy it absolutely right now." And then I want you to think about, what was that element? Was it a color? Was it a word? Was it the logo? Was it where a specific product or service was placed and made available for sale? Like, what are the things that are triggering you as a consumer to make a purchase? And recognizing that, again, helps you almost kind of like work backwards to understand what good marketing really is based on the things that work on you, because you're a consumer buying products every single day. So recognizing those different elements of marketing that trigger you to make decisions will help you start to realize what good marketing feels like and how good marketing shows up in your life every single day. And then you can start to use those insights and replicate them in the marketing campaigns that you're creating as you are building your business, creating new services, or even working with your own clients. Okay, and that brings us to our second topic, which is make a reasonable plan. So, making a reasonable plan for your marketing is going to help you become a better marketer almost instantly. And here's why. This is an analogy I like to use. I've used it a million times before. Hopefully, this is the first time you're hearing it. But let's imagine that you're ready to build your dream home. And so you have been thinking about the house that you want to live in forever, and you've been planning. You got all these ideas in your head of like what the house is going to look like, what the house needs to be like, where it's going to be located. You get the gist. So you finally have the money and you're ready to build this dream home. What are you going to do and how are you going to get started? Maybe you go to Home Goods and you buy some throw pillows and a rug and some art to put on the wall. And then after that, you go to a gardening center and you get some grass, maybe like 10 little pallets. You don't really know how much you need yet, but you're going to get some grass and some shrubs that you can put in the backyard, and maybe some vegetables, because it would be cool to have a veggie garden. And then after that, you like go to the hardware store and you pick up some 2x4s and some nails, because you totally need 2x4s and nails to build a house, right? Right? That makes sense. And so you have your materials now. You have some materials based on what you think you maybe kind of might want to do, with this rough idea of what you want your house to look like that you have in your mind, and you're ready to go, ready to build your house, right? No, wrong. That's not how any of us would go about building our dream house for the very first time. We would want to be more organized than that, right? Because it would be kind of a big deal to invest a lot of money in building this house. And so we would want to make sure that we were doing it in the most efficient way possible. So we would take all of those ideas that we had, find someone who could help us turn them into an actual plan or a blueprint, and then we would look at that blueprint, and that's how decisions would be made around like what materials were actually needed. But everything would start with a plan. We wouldn't just go out and start buying things all willy-nilly and hope and cross our fingers and pray that at some point that was going to turn into a house. Like, that would be foolish. But so many people do that when it comes to their marketing. I see a lot of people get super frustrated because they heard one person say that Facebook ads worked really well, or they heard one person say they need to build a webinar funnel or whatever. And so they go down the path of, again, learning how to do this one tactic, starting with, this random spot in marketing that may not be where they need to start because they didn't have a plan to begin with. And so this brings us to our second action item, which is I want you to draft a rough plan for your marketing strategy and what you actually intend to do and what you really need to do based on your goals. Good marketers and good marketing in general requires a little bit of time to do some research, to understand your market, to understand your customers, and also to understand your goals. Now, there are some situations where, if you're working for a big organization like a Fortune 500 or even a small to medium sized business, and you're a marketing specialist or manager or director, they are going to have some goals that you're going to need to fall in line with. But things are a lot different if you're an entrepreneur or someone who has a personal brand and you are thinking about this for yourself. I always say start with the end in mind. Like, what's your end goal? What's your destination? What are you actually trying to accomplish? Think about that. And then you should actually be building a marketing strategy that's going to almost help you like work backwards to get to that place you're trying to go at the end of the day. Now, in video 4 of this series, I'm actually going to share with you how to create your own marketing strategy, and I'm going to talk through all of the things that you need to include in that strategy and how to really go about creating a solid plan. Because this is, again, about long-term success. Like, anyone can have quick wins, but do you want to be the person who has marketing success for a month, or do you want to be the person who actually builds a foundation so that you can have marketing success for the next 5, 10, 20 years down the road? All of that is possible, again, no matter how much experience you have, but you have to be willing to put in the work to actually build a proper plan. And the truth too is that so many of these people who are teaching you how to do one single thing and they're saying that that's the end all be all of marketing, that's not what they're doing. Like, have you ever seen an ad on Facebook where they're like, learn how to grow your business or get more clients or have more sales, without using an ad? And they used an ad to reach you. Like, I've seen that on Facebook time and time and time again. It'll be this great ad that's like, oh, I used to spend so much money on ads, and like that's how I found all of my clients, and it was so expensive and it was so cumbersome. But I'm going to teach you through this ad how to get more customers without using ads. It's counterintuitive, right? So a lot of the programs or products that you see out there where people are teaching you how to do one thing, those people actually have a totally different plan for their marketing strategy that they're not even telling you about, that they're using, that actually pulled you in. So learning how to truly build your own plan is going to be super helpful and super successful for your long-term success as a marketer. Okay, and that brings us to topic number 3 for this video, which is learning how to pay attention to the 4 P's. Now, you may have heard of the 4 P's of marketing before, maybe you haven't, so let's just talk through them really quickly. So the first P is product or service, and this is really about what are you even selling? What can people actually purchase from you? And have you packaged that in a way that's going to make it easy for them to actually purchase, for you to make the sale? And In a traditional business, a product could be a consumer packaged good, it could be, food, clothes, you get the gist. It could also be a service like legal services or medical services or lawn care services. And on the other side of that, we actually have a lot of people now that are influencers. They have their own personal brand. And so the product that they're selling is actually their own audience. It's their influence. It's the exposure other brands can get by working with them. And then we've got our second P, which is place. Now, place is in reference to where your products and services are actually going to be available for sale. Are they going to be purchased online? Are they going to be purchased offline in a actual retail store? And if it's a retail store or, a pop-up or something like that, is it going to be a in-person location that you own and manage on a regular basis, or are you going to find distributors and have your products or services sold through someone else's storefront? And the reason that this is really important is because you need to understand, where is your ideal customer? Like, where is the person who you're hoping to reach? Where do they even want to buy this product? And what's going to be sort of going through their head as they're making a decision in whether or not they want to buy the product? For example, let's say I want to buy gum or mints. Most of those items are sold close to the checkout because research has shown that it's not something that we really put a lot of thought into. They're typically last minute impulse buys because they're low cost, they're low commitment. It's not something that you're really thinking about. You know you want it, you probably don't actually need it, but if it's right at the checkout and it's 99 cents, you'll go ahead and throw it in your cart and make that purchase. Other items, however, require a lot more thought, a lot more research, and a lot more consideration, and so you may not even find them in stores. You may only find them online where, the marketing allows for more messaging, for more interaction, for a different kind of customer experience that really allows people to dig in and get the information they need before they actually make a purchase. And so when you're thinking about the place, think about the experience that someone is going to need to have to be comfortable making the purchase. And the third P of marketing is actually price. So, price is how much you're going to sell your products or services for. And there are typically two ways that people think about pricing their products and services. So, the first is cost plus, and that's where you're just taking the total cost of raw materials and goods that you use to make your product or service. If it's a service, then you're mostly more looking at like hours and time that you're putting into actually completing or providing that service. But again, cost plus, how much it costs to make a good or product or provide a service, and then you're just adding a little bit more to that so that you've got some profit. But the other way that you can look at your price is based on value and perception. So, what do people think your product or service is actually worth? And the way that you can raise that perception is through good marketing, it's through good messaging, it's in being clear about the benefits and the services. Like, I know that I can go to McDonald's and get an ice cream cone for $1 if the ice cream machine is working, because like 9 times out of 10 it's not. They're always broken. But I usually don't do that. I am more likely to go to a frozen yogurt place, or like there's this really cool ice cream shop that sells soft serve where I live called, and they have really fun flavors, and it's like a fun experience where an ice cream cone cost like, 4 or 5 times of what I would spend at McDonald's. But I'm willing to spend the extra money because the perceived value of the product that I'm receiving in that other location, in my mind at least, is much, much, much higher than the value of a dollar ice cream cone at McDonald's. And then the last P of the 4 Ps of marketing is promotion. And so with promotion, that's where you're thinking about, what messaging do you actually want to share and where do you want to share it. Traditional marketing still exists, y'all. There's still people that are marketing, lots of people that are still marketing through magazines, newspapers, TV, radio. And again, those are experiences that you are probably having every single day and marketing that you're exposed to on a really regular basis if you just pay attention to it. So you've got those traditional channels, and then you also have your digital channels as well. So you've got social media, you've got digital ads, you've got content marketing like blog posts, etc. And so, depending on whatever it is that you are wanting to promote or sell, some of those different options for promotions may be a better choice or a better option for you than others. You know, if you have a small budget or you have a really short timeline, then there are certain options for promotion that will make more sense for you and your situation than other options for promotion. So that takes us to our next action item. I want you to take some time thinking about the 4 P's of marketing and how they actually relate to what you are selling and what you're offering. And I actually want you to document your thoughts and your insights because you can use that in your marketing plan. I talk to so many different small business owners that will tell me, like, oh, yeah, I have a marketing plan and it's in my head. But the problem with that is when it's in your head, it's more difficult for you to convey that insight and that information to anyone else. So, really take some time, write down your thoughts about the 4 P's. Okay, and that brings us to topic 4, which is making sure that you're leveraging technology and real time or near real time interactions with your audience. So, goes without saying, the marketing landscape has changed a lot over the past 5 years, even a lot in the past 12 months. And we've really moved from the situation where marketing was more of a push activity, and that means that, you know, a brand or a business would have a message, they would push it out and hope that it was heard by the right people who would then be interested in buying their products or services. But the way that marketing works now is it's a lot more pull. So you may come up with a message or have a product, and you're really going to focus on pulling people in. You're going to focus on creating some level of demand and desire for people to purchase your product and purchase your service based on the marketing that you're putting out there. It's really now, like with marketing, you want to become a magnet, and you can leverage technology and the real-time conversations or engagements that you can have with an audience to make that happen like that much faster. And one of the best ways to do that is by having regular conversations with your audience or going out and doing research online to see what are people saying about your industry, what are they saying about, you know, whatever products it is that you're trying to sell, and really hopefully the problem that you're trying to solve by offering a specific product or service. You know, like there's so many different online communities that you can tap into, like Reddit, where you could go out and find a subreddit and do some research to see what are people saying about your area of interest. Same with things like Quora. People are asking questions on a regular basis, trying to get insight, trying to get information, and you can actually tap into that to learn what products and services will actually help people and make their lives better. If you've already got an audience of followers on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or wherever it may be, ask them questions. It's crazy how people just completely like avoid sometimes interacting with their audience on social media, but you should be in the comments, you should be in the DMs, you should be having these conversations to find out exactly what it is people want. And embracing that is going to make you a better marketer times like a bajillion really fast, because you're not going to waste a lot of time guessing what people want. You're just going to go to them and ask them what they want. And 9 times out of 10, they will tell you. And that's going to make your life that much easier. So that takes us to our next action item, which is to go out and have a conversation with your audience, or find a place where people who you think might potentially be your audience are already having conversations, and scope them out. Like, peep what they're talking about. Do your research. Do your research. Okay, and that takes us to topic 5, our last topic for this video, which is driving your audience to make decisions. So if you want to be the kind of person who can sell absolutely anything, you need to understand how to get people to decide, how to get them to actually make a decision. And most marketers do that through this thing called a CTA, which is a call to action. It's not just enough to put out lots of content and hope that people, pick up the breadcrumbs of the hints you're throwing out to actually do something with whatever content it is that you've shared. You really need to understand, like, what do you want your audience to do? What's actually going to move them forward and help them make progress to get them to the point where they could potentially become a customer. And having a strong CTA is going to help you do that. You also need to learn how to create content that will help your audience know, like, and trust you. So, when we talked about our last topic, which was having conversations and going out and doing research to see what people are already talking about in your space, like, what you learn through that research will help you also create content that will allow people to know, like, and trust you. We do business with people that we trust. We want to buy things from people that we actually like. And when you are focused on this, that's going to just make it that much easier for you to get a yes when it comes to making a sale. When people don't know you, they don't know your brand, they don't know what you're about, they don't know what to expect, you sort of become this far off, far away brand. And that's when people are more likely to make their decisions based on cost. But when you're able to, tell more stories and build up that know, like, and trust factor, that's where that perceived value can start to come into play. And again, it just makes your sales cycle that much easier, quicker, and shorter. And in the times that we live in today, also, knowing what your values are, knowing what you stand for, that's also going to help you drive your customers to make a quick decision and whether or not they actually want to buy whatever it is that you're selling. A lot of people are actually really afraid to put their values front and center in whatever it is that they're selling. But the truth is, when they're out there, whether that be political or religious or personal, that is going to draw people to you that are in alignment with whatever it is that you believe. Whenever you do that, you're going to attract a more loyal audience who, again, knows you, likes you, and trusts you that much faster because they feel like they actually understand what you're all about. And I can say that as someone who used to, like, really ride the fence. Like, I used to be this neutral party who wouldn't talk about politics or religion or my personal beliefs online or in social media because I wouldn't want to make anyone on either side feel uncomfortable. But then I finally got to this place where I'm like, no, I am me. I am myself. I believe in love. I believe in equality. I believe in LGBT rights. I believe in a woman's choice. And I believe that we should have leadership in the country that I live in, the US, that is not racist, xenophobic, sexist. I think you understand where I'm going with this. I started to realize that when I actually just put my views out there, it was a good thing because that meant that the people who had some of the same beliefs as me would then know that, like, yeah, this girl is going to teach me about marketing, but it's going to be a safe place for me no matter my sexual orientation, no matter my race, no matter my social class or status. Like, she just wants to teach me and she's going to make it a safe space for me to be, and I'm not going to have to worry about feeling harassed or feeling like I don't belong. So our last action item that's going to help you start driving your customers to make decisions faster is think about what are some of the things that they need to hear about your products or services that will help them make a decision much faster, that will help them trust you, get a sense and feel of who you are, that will help you with your marketing in the long run. And then once you understand what some of those messages are, I want you to incorporate them into your marketing strategy. And I mean, like, everywhere. Like, think about how you can incorporate that on your website, your landing pages, your product packaging, wherever you've got marketing assets or, collateral messaging. Start to think about how you can actually incorporate that. All right, so that's the end of this very first video. Again, this is a series of videos that are really just meant to be a good crash course in marketing. You'll notice this was not about, how to run a Facebook ad or how to get 1,000 followers, in less than 24 hours on Instagram, because I want you to understand the basics first. And so that's what I'm doing in this series. So if you learn something new, if you have a question, go ahead and leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you, for this to be a two-way conversation. I want to learn more about you, what you're struggling with in marketing, and how I can actually support you in your journey to become a much better marketer. So I hope you'll check out the rest of the videos in this series, and I'll talk to you soon. Next.